see if it's working. Okay guys, hang on a sec. Let me check that my audio is working. I'm actually streaming on 2 different platforms today. Okay, sounds like you can hear me. Give me 2 seconds while I hop over to Discord and tell everyone I'm here. Where are we? Discord, okay. Live, everyone. Okay, hi guys, Jackie M. Like I said, I'm actually streaming on YouTube as well today for the heck of it. But if you are watching anywhere else except on Twitch, just make sure you follow me on Twitch, which is short URL is jackiem.live, right? Let's see if it's actually working on YouTube. Okay, it's not showing up, but say hello and let me know where you're watching from. Sorry, I like to tweak things. So, am I actually live? Let me have a look. Jackie M. Sorry guys. Live dashboard. Yeah, I'm streaming to restream today for the first time in months on my own account. I've done it for other people's accounts. And last time I did it on my own account, it didn't work. But hey, Brad, how you doing? Good to see you. Come on, apparently it's not working on YouTube. Whatever it is about YouTube, offline. Okay, whatever. Anyway, if it eventually does work on YouTube, yeah, don't forget to follow me on Twitch, which is jackiem.live, or on Twitch, the channel name is Jackie M Food, right? And it really bugs me why it's not working. Whatever. Okay, at least we're live on Twitch. But anyway, thanks for joining me. And my name is Jackie M. If you don't know me, I'm a Malaysian-born, Sydney, Australia-based former restaurateur. And I live stream on Twitch doing Southeast Asian cooking 3 times a week, and a 4th time where we basically have a community chat, we share stories and all that, all right? So I mentioned Discord. I'm a little bit lazy on Discord. I know, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm just too busy to spend too much time on it. But if you've got any food questions or you just want to engage with me, best way to reach me is on Discord, which is bit.ly, bit.ly/Discord Jackie, all lowercase, all right? And today, before I go on, shout out to Lenovo Australia for the laptops I use for my live stream and for monitoring the calls coming in. And to Rode microphones for the microphones I use in my broadcasts, all right? And speaking of which, if you've got any problems at all, let me know, okay? Because I've got a lot of stuff, metallic stuff and cords and all that bouncing off each other sort of thing. So if you hear any static or anything like that, or if you've got problems hearing me, let me know. But yeah, okay. So I am, today I'm going to do beef noodles because I've got some beef bones, and because Remy, one of my regulars, one of my mods actually was mentioning the other day, I always seem to be making prawn stock, okay? She said not everyone eats prawn. So I figured I was going to buy some beef bones, and I did. But on top of that, I'm going to also make, because I've run out of crispy fried onions, so I'm going to actually try and squeeze some of that into today's session as well. And on top of that, my daughter is coming on later on, and she's not eating beef noodles. She wants to have what I made the other day, the prawn noodles, but I need to actually poach some chicken and shred the meat for it, okay? So, so it's all very complicated. So I'm going to try and do all of that today. First of all, beef noodles. No, first of all, let me get the chicken out of the way, okay? So this is a whole chicken I bought from Aldi today. It was on sale. I don't know why I'm plugging all these places that don't even don't even acknowledge my existence. Okay, I bought this on Aldi this morning. It was on sale. and this cost me $4.70. Okay, so this whole chicken for $4.70, which is about as cheap as it gets. $3 a kilo, down from whatever it usually is. I need a pair of gloves. So what I'm going to do is just simply boil this chicken or poach it gently anyway. I'm going to do it up the back. Hi Cyan, how you doing? So I'm just going to cut it open, throw it into this pot of water, and throw it in on my stove up the back because I don't have a lot of room here. And this, in case you're wondering, because I get asked about it all the time, this is not actually a real kitchen, okay? This is actually my living room. So if you live the way I live, you don't need a living room, okay? Okay, so whole chicken, like I said, I'm just gonna literally just throw it into this pot of water and just boil it. Nothing sophisticated about this. All I want is at the end of it to basically peel off the skin. You know what, I should actually peel off the skin and make chicken crackling. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And all I want is the meat, all right? Hi Lynx, how you doing? All I want is the meat, which I'm gonna shred and then drench with sesame oil and just like sprinkle white pepper over it, and also throw in some chicken powder or some salt if you want, and that just gives me the topping that I'm going to use for the prawn noodles that I'm serving my daughter later on today. Okay, so let's cut this open. Like I said, I've just kind of thought, because I was going to actually discard the skin anyway, but I've just remembered I've got my good old air fryer that I am going to toss the chicken skin into to make chicken crackling with. So this is my air fryer. It's an Optimum healthy fry air fryer, but I don't eat chicken skin unless it's actually fried. So usually if I were doing this, I'd just throw out the chicken skin. But yep, air fryer, great idea. So here we go. I probably should, yeah, do this a little bit more elegantly. I get really leery about handling raw chicken because I hate, you know, I hate the mess that chicken makes in any kitchen. Okay, so let's just throw this open. Okay, let me just put this away quickly. And in all honesty, since it's going to take me a couple of minutes to cut up, I'm just going to put this aside first and get onto the beef, all right? So I'm going to make a beef noodle soup. Like I said, it's kind of like, if you're familiar with the Vietnamese pho, it's similar to that, but you know, the version that I like is just, I like eating pho. But in Malaysia, we do have beef noodles as well, soupy beef noodles. Our soup is not as doesn't have so much spices in it, but I'm going to actually kind of split the difference and do throw in some spices anyway, okay, just so you can have a go at it at home. But with the beef, I'm going to actually boil the stock in a pressure cooker. So I bought a couple of bags of beef bones. These are chuck bones, $4.30 from my Aussie butcher here, okay, that's just over a kilo. I think that'll be enough for this batch. I bought 2 bags actually. So what you would usually do if you were making pho, they would actually suggest that you boil it for like hours and hours, okay? So that's the beef bones. But I'm not going to do that because, like I said, I'm using the pressure cooker. If I were actually, in all honesty, when you cook any kind of beef stock or beef soup, you want to give a couple of hours for it to kind of like bring out the flavors, but hopefully the pressure cooker will fast track that. On top of the beef here, I'll put some water in here, but I'm going to top it up with some chicken stock, because if you know me from my broadcasts, you know I always have a lot of chicken stock from my business. And this looks a little bit dark, and the reason it's dark like this is because I actually pressure cooked it yesterday. So it would have been like more or less kind of like clear or caramelly, like a light caramelly color yesterday. Audio is a bit more on the, hang on, let me have a look, see what this message says. bit more on the soft side. Is the mic farther away? No, it's not, but let me move it. I'm going to talk up a little bit, okay? Everyone's having problems with my audio all the time. Is it cranked? A microphone? Yeah. I haven't made any changes to my settings as far as I know. But let's have a look. Okay, yeah, let me know if you've got any problems hearing me still, yeah? Okay, so this, yeah, and I don't know why the hell my stupid YouTube live stream is not working. Never mind, another time. Okay, so this was just straight out chicken, like concentrated chicken stock, okay? And what I mean by concentrated chicken stock is that it's not actually stock produced from chicken bones. It's actually the juices produced from steaming or poaching chicken in bags, okay? So it's very, very concentrated. And like I said, usually it's virtually clear, but I threw it in the pressure cooker and pressure cooked it for about an hour yesterday, and it's turned into this dark color, all right? And it smells, if you're Chinese or Asian, you would know what's called chicken essence that you can buy over behind the counter at some Asian grocery stores. And what it's supposed to be is supposed to be like a concentrated chicken, like stock thing that you drink when you're sick or when, you know, whatever sort of thing. So that's something that reminds me of my childhood, actually. It could be louder. You're live streaming on YouTube as well. Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to, what happened was that I've got an account with Restream and Restream.io, and I have in the past actually simultaneously live streamed to both, and then for whatever reason it stopped working. I played around with the configurations, still not working, but yeah. But effectively what this stream is doing is that it's going to Restream, and it's going to volume range. I can't. Let me just have a quick look. Thanks for hosting, Mom Noms. And let me just try and fix up my notifications, because it kills me that I keep forgetting to change my alert box properly. Okay, I hope that's the right one I just increased in size. But microphone, where are we? Rode microphone. Rode microphone, okay, settings. Audio is maxed out. Device configuration, let me just have a look. Audio input. Okay, pin line master volume. The two volume settings, and I don't know if either of them have any impact on the audio levels, but let me know if it's, I've just made a change there. Let me know if it's any different. But yeah, so this is very, very concentrated chicken stock, and it's turned like a caramel color after I pressure cooked it yesterday. Okay, but I'm just gonna top it up. That just went louder. It was oh, Edge of Night is telling me otherwise. So Edge of Night is saying it's softer. When you set master volume, the volume went up quite a bit. It went louder for a second there. Just 1 second. Let me just have a quick look. Let me have a look. Master volume. Where was it? Configure audio input. Master input. Okay. I maxed it up. And then there's a pin line input, which I also then maxed up as well. Okay, I don't know if that's made a difference. Oh, is it too loud? See your whiskey. You're getting me all paranoid now. Is it too loud now, or is it okay? I'm gonna keep, it went loud, then back again. Far out, what's going on? Huh. Ameriparian, thanks for hosting. When you said maxed it out, maybe midway from current to that, but then it goes quiet again. All right. It may just be because I'm stepping closer to the microphone as I say what I'm doing. Let me just see if I can move it directly in front of me. Okay. That's okay, that may be it. Okay. I'm moving it right. It's sitting now on top of my, so it's kind of like obscuring the view here a little bit, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. So this is beef bones. That's a fancy mic. That's a Rode microphone. It's meant for podcasting. They sent it out to me a couple of years ago. And then I've got an overhead mic that I haven't actually played around with lately. That does sound clearer. Good, fingers crossed. Okay, now what I want to add to this is some beef meat as well, all right? So these are beef bones plus water, plus some concentrated chicken stock. The chicken stock is a nice to have, all right, guys. It's not critical. If you look up any pho recipe, like the Vietnamese beef noodle soup recipe online, I never see any that mentions that it adds other kinds of meat to it, but I know for a fact, you know, because I have Vietnamese staff and I have Vietnamese friends, I know for a fact that a lot of places actually don't just use beef bones, but they add pork bones to it as well, all right? Because I don't eat pork, because the idea is that like it kind of like rounds up the flavor a little bit. Beef, if you were making stock just purely from beef bones, I think the consensus among the Asian community is that the flavor can be a little bit sharp, but doesn't have the body of like something derived from pork bones, or if you're not a pork eater, chicken bones, all right, which is what the chicken stock replaces. So I got that in there, and I got some beef brisket, which I was actually going to roast. I was actually going to use my sous vide for this, but I forgot to kind of use it. So it's been sitting in my, it's been sitting in my fridge for how long? No, it's still safe. Used by 15th of August. All right. So for a change, it's not near its expiry date. Like I tend to leave my stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna actually chop this up, beef brisket, okay? And of course, the use of beef brisket is a little bit unusual, okay? We use it in Malaysian, like beef noodle soup, but in Vietnamese pho, you would use thin sliced beef, all right? Why not do a podcast if you've got the mic? I reckon it might be interesting, you think? You think? All right, okay, well, I was actually going to do a podcast a year or two ago, but you know, yeah. Podcasting seems a lot easier because I don't have to dress up and I don't have to actually cook live on air, you know. I can just talk, but I'm not as captivated by my own voice as some people might be, you know, or by my own content. So it was like, I thought I might do a magazine style podcast with a podcasting partner, and we were going to like, you know, do everything to do with Southeast Asian food and travel and that sort of stuff, but yeah, we never really kind of like spent enough time plotting it out, and yeah, so it didn't happen. And then she died. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. She passed away earlier this year, out of the blue. So nothing happened with that after that. So, okay, so I'm cutting these into like fairly large chunks, okay, about 1-inch cubes. And I'm gonna throw it all in with the bones, and we're gonna pressure cook it along with some of the spices that we're gonna add into this. But yeah, anyone thinks podcast would be a good idea, let me know what you would like to hear on a podcast with yours truly. Sorry for bringing it up. That's fine. It's live, you know. Okay, so chunks of beef in there. It's actually quite full. I'm thinking, maybe I should have not filled it up so much. Okay, so I'm going to add I'm going to add half an onion in here. And I'm going to throw in some garlic cloves. And I'll throw in some ginger. And usually, if you are doing pho, the kind of spices that go into this would be cinnamon, cloves, sometimes cardamom if you want, and star anise, okay? I don't have any cinnamon today, and I'm inclined to actually just sprinkle a little bit of 5-spice powder into this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with 5-spice powder, but it's, yeah, it's quite intense in flavor. It does... the 5 spices in the 5-spice powder apparently are usually, I know it's got cinnamon and it's got cloves in there, which makes me think, oh well, you know, that'll do. But it also contains stuff that that you wouldn't put in here, which is fennel. Fennel I generally find a little bit intense in flavor, so I'm not a huge fan of using fennel in my cooking. I use it very, very sparingly. So I might actually just bypass the cinnamon since I don't have any, and just sprinkle some cloves and some star anise in here. So 5-spice powder would have cloves as well. So essentially it's cloves, fennel, cinnamon, star anise. Okay, so I'm just putting like just that much onion in there, and ginger. Let's throw in a chunk of ginger. Look, if you don't have any of these, right, just beef, just simmered like this. If you've got some peppercorns, that would be nice too, right? If you want to make a nice broth for your noodles, you can't really go wrong with just beef bones plus garlic is always a good idea. But yeah, don't stress out if you don't have all the fancy bells and whistles for it, okay? Speaking of garlic, okay, here you go. Okay, you know I like my garlic. Okay, so I'm throwing about equivalent to a bulb's worth of garlic, alright? You don't have to go crazy with it. And if I were doing it like Chinese style, Malaysian style, this is probably about it. That's all you want to go in there. But like I said, Vietnamese pho, you can smell that the spices in it, and basically that's cinnamon, star anise, and cloves. Okay, I've got the cloves. I'm going to put a couple in there. Like I say, I'm totally splitting the difference here. So this is what cloves look like, right? I've got like bags and bags of it. Okay, they're just tiny little, they look like little dried flower buds. Okay, so cloves, a little go a long way. Don't go too crazy with it. And star anise, a little goes a long way too. Okay, star anise literally looks like a little star. Okay, I'm just going to put 2 little ones in there, and if you've got cinnamon, a quill of cinnamon would be good. All right, so that's it. I'm not going to season it yet until after this is cooked through. So let's throw this in my pressure cooker. Whoops. Okay. Okay, I'll just put it on the soup setting. And the other thing I forgot to mention as well, I've got tripe here, all right? Again, from my Aussie butcher, so it's not just a strange Asians who eat tripe, but this is a vacuum-packed piece of tripe. Essentially, it's like beef stomach, okay? So what I'm going to do separately is just simmer it with some salted water until it's cooked through. You know it's cooked through. The way my mom tests for doneness is by just poking it with a chopstick, all right? So tripe can be like very rubbery and quite tough at the moment. So you'll just boil it for like, I don't know, half an hour or something. You stick a chopstick through it. If it pierces easily, you know it's done. Turn it off, rinse it, and then cut it into strips, all right? And then use it with the beef as well. Wait, the pressure cooker talks? Yeah, I know, it's clever, right? Okay, so back to the chicken. Let's skin it. So if you're interested in checking out the specs of the pressure cooker, like I said, this is called the Optimum Induction Pressure Cook Pro, and you can find more about it at the website called prestigehomeappliances.com.au. And this was sent to me, all right, to test out and to review. Do the left channel audio disappear? Did it disappear? The right ear is louder than the left. Is that right? Let me check. Okay. Damn, you guys are fussy. Let me have a look. Copy left to right. Okay, it's meant to be set to copy left to right, so it's meant to be balanced out. Volume range. You know what? Should I increase the volume range maybe? Okay. Let me marginally increase the volume range, all right? And it was for a minute, but it's okay now. Okay, right. Okay, so chicken skin, okay. Okay, let's cut it up. Glove. Yeah, hit me up if you've got any questions, especially if you've got any dishes you really want to learn how to make. I can't guarantee I'll know how to make it, but at least I'll be able to give it a shot live on air. All right, so hop over to my Discord channel and hop over to the Food Talk channel specifically on my Discord server and let me know. So few people have done that already. And I used to do that, I wouldn't say as a matter of course, but for a while I did that on Google Hangouts on air back when I was broadcasting there, where people would send me these recipes that are, you know, stuff that you wouldn't find online. So I like that about doing everything live on air. Wow, this skin is pretty hard to snip off. Okay. This a little bit over here. So it doesn't matter if it's broken up because it's all going to be all shriveled up anyway once it's fried up in the air fryer. So if you've been thinking about getting an air fryer is essentially kind of like, to me, you know, it's pitched as a healthy alternative to deep frying. All right, so if you're concerned about the oil consumption, or even even if you're concerned about like owning a deep fryer, because not many people own deep fryers, an air fryer is a good option. It works great on a lot of recipes. You know, I don't, as a matter of course, use it for anything that requires a, you know, a batter sort of thing, because the batter is just going to be oozy and it'll kind of like make a mess in your air fryer, in my opinion. Though some people apparently do it. So to me, an air fryer is good for things like this. A chicken skin, sautés, if you've got sautés you want to cook, all right, and you don't have a grill, especially if you're doing small amounts of sauté, you don't want to like start up a charcoal grill or something like that. Most people actually usually grill it in their oven, but what happens is you tend to, the sticks tend to break off in the under the grill unless you cover them properly. All right, it won't happen in an air fryer. So, okay, so this is getting a little bit easier. I'm trying to focus on making sure I don't move off screen with a close-up. But yeah, I don't know what the hell happened with Restream. I'm really annoyed with that. So, oh, let's try like dual streaming onto YouTube again after months of not doing it. Satay in the air fryer. Yeah. Try it. Oh, my nose again. Noah's going through this phase. Noah's my 5-year-old Down syndrome kid. He's going through this phase because what happens is like I've got my computers set up on the desk next to this, and I work standing up. All right, because I don't want to be lazy. All right. And he's going through this phase where every time I'm in front of my computer, he disrupts me. He'll come around and grab my legs and try to push me off, or he'll start knocking things over. He can't stand the sight of me standing in front of the computer. It drives him nuts. So that's, if I've been unproductive, I blame it on Noah. But a couple of days ago, I actually went through, because I didn't have him, because I woke up in the middle of the night and started blogging. I wrote like 8 blog posts in the middle of the night. And ever since I did that, I've had this splitting headache, because it threw my total like schedule off kilter, because I was up all night. I then slept all day the next day, and then because I couldn't do any work yesterday, well, to be fair, I was at the market yesterday, like selling food, because every Thursday that's what I do. So I sell food at the market every Thursday, and then I pick Noah up from preschool, and I come home, he eats dinner, and then he would not let me do any work in front of the computer at all. So we actually went to bed at 6 p.m. because of that. I thought, oh, let's go to bed at 6 p.m. and I'll wake up later on and catch up on my work. And of course, I slept right through. And now I've got this splitting headache. You know that headache that you get from sleeping too much? It's so annoying. It sounds like such a first world problem, but that's what I'm suffering withdrawals from oversleeping at the moment. Okay. So you're going to find when you peel off the skin from your chicken that you don't actually get a lot of it, all right? So that's most of the chicken skin I've got from one chicken. But it's enough to kind of like have a nice little side snack, all right? And of course you can actually deep fry this too, guys. Let's just put this over here. And I'll just finish this bit off. Can air fryers be used for stuff you'd normally deep fry? Mostly, yeah. It's, if you can imagine an air fryer as like a convection oven, but it blows hotter and stronger air in a smaller space, right? Essentially what it does is that it roasts the stuff, all right? But generally, you would be required to just sprinkle some oil, just toss some oil through whatever it is. Like, it's good for things like spring rolls, right? Like I said, you know, anything that's battered, like that's got runny batter or that you dip, you know, sort of thing, probably wouldn't be great in an air fryer. I haven't tried it, but it's just because the basket has holes in it. You'd think logically, like, the batter would seep through the holes in the basket, right? So yeah, anything that's solid, curry puffs and that sort of stuff, would be fine for an air fryer. Having said that, right, cooking a curry puff in an air fryer, the pastry is going to be a little bit denser than if you deep fried it. Okay, well, my type of curry puff anyway. But yeah, most people are happy to do that because it means they don't have to have like a big tub of oil for deep frying, you know. When I used to sell curry puffs, people used to like it so much that they were asked to buy some uncooked ones that they can keep in their freezer at home. And almost to a person, they would like actually throw it in their oven. Okay, this was in the days before air fryers came on the scene, all right? So, and they were happy with it. So essentially, air frying curry puffs will basically give you the same effect as if they were actually baked in the oven. I personally go with a wok. If you can only have one of your fancy appliances, which would you pick? This is off the record, guys. Off the record. It would be like one of these like Thermomix, thermo cook things. All right. So yeah. Yeah, with the fancy appliances, the you know, something that does the work of a Thermomix, thermo cook, because they're powerful enough that they can, like, you know, mill a lot of the really tough Asian ingredients like galangal, lemongrass and all that. When I had my restaurant, these things didn't exist. When I had my restaurant, I went through so many blenders and food processors which would break when you try to you know, process lemongrass and anything tough. My mom still processes her lemongrass, right? Because it's very like fibrous and really tough. She still processes it using a blender, and what she does is that she sets aside a whole day. So what she does is she'll be like she'll basically fill her blender with some chopped up lengths of lemongrass. She'll blitz it for 2 minutes and then stop and go and vacuum 2 rooms or something like that, right? And then she'll come back and blitz it again for 2 minutes, and it'll take her hours to do it, because if you basically blitz it all the way through, you'll burn out the motor and kill the blade in your blender, right? I had a $1,500 commercial food processor in my restaurant, and I killed it just by blitzing, not even lemongrass, I was blitzing like onion in it, right? Because I used to go through a lot of onion. So a lot of time you see my cooking like recipes and all that, with all the shortcuts I used in terms of using fried onion, using minced, pre-minced lemongrass, using, you know, galangal powder. It's basically kind of like legacy from my days in my restaurant, where I either don't have the time or don't have the resources to be able to process these properly. Because back in Malaysia, you would pound it by hand, you know, or you'll have this big giant stone mill that you will actually use to grind all your tough spices with, which we don't have over here. So, yeah. Take your time. Thank you, Rasta. How does a mortar and pestle work for lemongrass? Does the crushing actually brings out the flavors? So lemongrass kills food processors. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Like I say, my mom does it. Like she has to kind of like really space out her day. Like she'll do it for a couple of minutes, go away and come back, do it, you know, sort of thing. Mortar and pestle will work fine. It brings out the flavor, but it doesn't actually like mill it to the same, it doesn't mill it. For that you need a mill, a stone mill. I remember when I used to, as a kid growing up in Malaysia, we lived on the 11th floor of this. Basically what it was welfare housing, right? We lived on the 11th floor, and there's like, the balcony is about this wide, right? I remember, yeah, about a meter wide sort of thing. And I remember our neighbor next door, one day, they got delivery of this big giant stone mill that they stuck on the balcony. And this wide, and they used it for like milling like things like chili paste and all that sort of stuff, right? So it's like, if you can imagine two big stone blocks, right? One on top of the other, and you feed the whatever ingredients is you're milling into the middle, and then you kind of like move it around and it comes out around the side, right? Those are the kind of stone mills you need to be able to process really tough spices. So people a lot of the time they say, oh, you know, mortar and pestle, like it never really kind of cuts it for me. Sorry, just let me close down a couple of messages that just come through right now. Oops. I've got my microphone sitting right on my keyboard, and it's trying to type for me. Okay. Here you go. I'm trying to figure out where to place it, prevent it from actually trying to type. Okay, rightio. So chicken is skinless. I'm gonna put it in this pot and just add a little bit of water to it, and then I'm gonna I'll put it on the stove around the back, because you don't want to just see a pot of chicken. Okay, chicken skin. I'm gonna toss some chicken powder through it, and some white pepper, and some sesame oil as well. But I'm just gonna start the air fryer first, just to get it warmed up. Oh, okay. Okay, so again, not that much, but you get like about like a nice little entree of chicken crackling with it. Wish I could use a mortar and pestle. My nerves are damaged such a way I struggle with it. Look, it's very overrated, all right? You know, I don't remember using a mortar and pestle that much, even in my childhood in Malaysia. Like, you know, in Malaysia, we're quite happy to adopt new technology. In the West, because everything is still so exotic, like Asian cooking is still so exotic and so aspirational. You guys like to go back to basics and do that. All right, so that's that there. Okay, but I remember, like I said, in Malaysia, we were quite happy to adopt, like, you know, kitchen appliances and all that. And I remember when I was filming in Malaysia a couple of years ago, they had the kitchen all laid out for us to film, right? They have the mortar and pestle put out, okay? This is just for the visual, all right? So they'll have it all nicely decorated, and they'll do some token pounding or whatever. But then the actual paste is actually prepared in the back kitchen with a food processor, all right? So they know that people, white people, like to see like the whole exotic, like, you know, kind of like rustic way of preparing food. But in reality, you know, they use food processors themselves. Okay, so a bit more pepper. Perhaps I should invest in some kind of electric stirrer. Second time, right? Crunchy, you're sick. Hey, Crunchy, I'm thinking of writing about you in one of my blog posts. Are you cool with that? Crunchy is one of my supposed mods. Let me just put this on the... Okay, flu is everywhere, the whole family got it. That's why you should eat Asian food, Crunchy. You just have a sniffly nose like I've had for weeks and weeks. Okay, look at how miserable this amount of chicken. It's like, this is the only time I complain how there's not enough chicken skin, all right? When I actually want to fry it up and eat it. It's been stormy a couple of weeks now in the Philippines. Okay, let's do this, and I want like hot, okay? So I want 200 degrees. Start. Okay, let's see how we go. Oh, I left a little bit out. Okay, so, and as far as the noodles, pho noodles are usually thin rice noodles, and you can buy them fresh or you can buy them like dry, and then you reconstitute it. But because we're not, that's why I didn't say pho noodles. I said beef noodles. All right, but I'm just going to use these basically standard fresh rice noodles that you can pick up at Asian grocery stores. Right, this is what I usually use for my stir fry. You can use them in anything. All right, it actually say ban pho in Vietnamese here too, but you should find this at your local Asian grocery store. It will not be refrigerated. If you look for it at your Asian grocery store in like a Western shopping mall like Westfield or something like that, then it will probably be refrigerated because of, you know, regulations and whatever. But if you go to those standalone Asian grocery stores in Australia, we don't refrigerate them, all right? They need to be soft and fresh when we buy them, and they go through so much of it that it's not an issue anyway. Vitamin C helping colds is a myth. Oh, you think so? Eat more mandarins, not Asian mandarins. Well, tell your doctor to talk to me, all right? Okay. Seriously, Crunchy, I wanna write about you and or mention you anyway in my posts. that I plan to post on the Huffington Post. All right. So I've got some chilies here. They're green because the red ones were too expensive. All right, but they're gonna do the job. But what I want to do is make some sambal with it, and also, what else have I got to clear out? Also, I want to make some crispy onions. All right, but let's do the sambal first. So I've got the chilies here. Let me just wash up my cutting board again. Okay, so for this, are the green ones spicy? They're about the same as the red ones. So this is mostly an aesthetic thing. This particular batch, it goes from batch to batch. We Asians don't like instinctively know like whether chilies are hot or not. So every time my mom makes chili paste, it'll be like, oh, let's taste this batch, you know, to see how spicy it is. And if it's super hot, she'll warn everyone. If it's not, she'll say, oh, this batch is really bland. So we pretty much just go in blind to some extent. But I don't know how much truth there is to it. But usually when my mom, when I say my mom, I mean my stepmom, all right? When my mom picks out like chilies, you know, back in the day in Malaysia, the really thin, skinny ones are considered more spicy. I don't think there's actually any particular home truth to it, okay? But the more rounded, like plump ones are considered like pretty mild. All right. So hey, Sammy, how you doing? Are those serrano peppers? That's so American, right? We Asians just call them big chilies. Every time we look for chilies, we just look for big chilies or small chilies. Small chilies are bird's-eye chilies, and big chilies are like this. All right. So there's big red chilies, there's small red chilies. But we Asians, I've actually used jalapeno before. But in Australia, we don't generally, you go to a grocery store, you know, your local greengrocer, you don't generally find like jalapeno, habaneros, and all that sort of stuff. All the Aussies agree with me here, all right? Unless you go to one of those really fancy, like inner city, like pretentious little joints sort of thing. But when we go shopping for chilies at your greengrocer, they'll either look like this, like green or red, or they'll be small bird's eye, all right? So we just call them big chilies. Crunchy bits. Alright, so I'm just cutting this up. I don't like chilies too spicy. Oh, come on. Yeah, they're just chilies. Exactly, yeah. It's a very American thing when they ask what type of chilies or what type of peppers we use. We just call them chilies, you know. And like I say, in Asia, we just call them big chilies or small chilies. Gloves. I know something which I don't know what it is. No one has it. I have something. I don't know what it is. No one else has it. Everybody's falling sick. Even at yeah, people are getting like a second round of the cold over here in Australia. I mean, like, I'm not sick. I've just got this lingering cough. It actually kept me up again last night. So my brain is a little bit woozy from like oversleeping and from coughing in my sleep and whatever else. So, but I've seen other people like come down, like whole families come down with gastro or getting, like I said, a second round of like the flu and getting whooping cough and whatever. So it's hitting people pretty hard with cold. So Asian food, all right? Crunchy, you hear me? Asian food. And Sammy too, Asian food. It'll fix you. All right, so chilies. Let's blend it, and I want to blend some onion to go with it as well. Sammy's sore neck, upper back, headaches, dizzy now and then, getting really hot all of a sudden. Oh, that's definitely a cold. Yeah, that does not sound good. Feel I'm gonna vomit. Oh no, that does not sound good. That sounds like a virus. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been sick enough to have to see a doctor, thank God. So I'm just throwing in a couple of brown onions for my sambal. So the sambal, any kind of sambal, you generally will see the core ingredients will be onion and peppers, all right, chilies. You know, then there are different types of sambal. Some might have dried shrimp, some might have shrimp paste, some might just have these two, some might have tomato sauce or tomato ketchup in it, right? But fundamentally, it should have onion and chili, all right? That's what kind of like gives it that universal term sambal. And we'll just like, the doctor is like $40, so we just like rest up now, give me a $40. Yeah, don't you have universal healthcare in New Zealand, Sammy? In Australia, you go see a GP, it's free. Pretty much. It's free if you're in my situation. You're a full-time carer of a sick kid. Told me to take some Panadol and that was it. Oh, lame-o. As far as the chili, this is not going to be hot enough for my taste, all right? So I'm actually going to add some crushed dried chilies to this. I just don't have enough fresh chilies lying around to be able to do much with it. Hospital is free, but it's for emergencies. Oh, really? I thought GPs would be free too in New Zealand. I thought New Zealand was more socialized than Australia. No? Huh. But yeah, in Australia, you see a GP. A lot of them do what, yeah. When it says, if ever you come to Australia, if you guys aren't, if there's a sign outside the medical practice that says bulk billing available, it means you don't have to pay a cent up front, all right? Others, you would have to pay, and then you can claim back most of it through your Medicare. But in my situation, because of NOAA, I don't have to pay at all, okay? If you have health insurance, that's different. Block nose is an emergency. My health insurance just for surgeries. That's really bad. I actually thought that New Zealand would be actually more, you get even more stuff in New Zealand than you do in Australia. Okay, so I've got 3 onions. Yeah, I'm gonna blend them with the chilies, all right? Yeah, don't die on us, Sammy. Okay, so there you go. That was, how long was it? 10 seconds in my thermo cook, right? And by the way, this looks really chunky, but this was, you can see it. That looks bad, right? But this was a pre-sliced beef that I bought frozen at an Asian grocery store freezer section, and then I threw it in the freezer, but there you go. But if you're making pho, the defining feature of pho is that the beef slices they serve on your noodles are very, very thinly sliced, and you actually put them on your noodles raw, and the soup is meant to just barely cook it, right? But like I said, because this is a little bit old, it's been in my freezer. This is freezer clear out week, guys. It's been sitting in my freezer, so I'm probably just going to throw it in and boil the hell out of it. You go if I feel I'm dying. Okay, so there you go. Let's bring my I'm just gonna cook it in this one here. Okay, that's the air fryer. Let's see how it's looking after 12 minutes. Okay, there you go. Let me just toss it a little bit, see if it needs a little bit more doneness. Yes, it does. Okay, so it's still white in the middle here. Okay, look at how much it shrunk. Okay, let's do it again. I have a feeling I've really kind of like reached the upper limit in terms of how full my pressure cooker pot should be. I'm a little concerned about soup spitting out of it. Okay, let's turn this on. Last time I was really sick, took me a week to go to the doctor. I had to get a needle in my butt to stop me throwing up. Vaccines. I've never had a flu vaccine actually. Has anyone had a flu vaccine? Because they always say that it doesn't protect you like completely anyway. So to me it's like, well, then what's the point, you know? Virus. Wow, that sounds pretty bad. Okay, so in this goes. Okay, I'm gonna fry it without oil to start with, so some of the liquid evaporates. You can hear the sizzling because brown onion has a lot of moisture in it. All right, if you put the oil in now, it'll spit all over the place. So I generally nowadays anyway try and fry it dry first and then add the oil afterwards. Well, add the oil after it's dried up a bit. All right. Hi Links, you're in Melbourne, aren't you? Seems like all the Aussies seem to be in Melbourne mostly, except for a couple here and there. I used to never get sick till I had kids. Ah, blame the kids. Effectiveness of vaccines vary. They have to guess which strain to make the vaccine a few months in advance. Ah, they don't always get it right. So many strains of the flu, there's no telling how effective. Yeah, I know, that's what kind of puts me off actually doing it. Crunchy Bites, Jackie's Kitchen, beef noodle soup and more. Good on you, Crunchy. You're making up for all the times you were absent. Okay, so this is chili. It's actually literally labeled chili crush. Okay, this is what it looks like. So there are different variations. Sometimes you might see chili powder. Sometimes you might see like chili flakes or whatever. This particular one, like I said, it's labeled chili crush, and I buy it in large bags. And it's from Thailand. Anything from Thailand, just be warned, it's probably going to be super, super hot. All right. So I don't use very much of it at all. Just enough to kind of like add a little bit more heat to this, because this, with the addition of the onion, is going to like make it a little bit too mild for my liking. So I'm just putting some of this in. Again, like I said, it's fairly arbitrary. All right. Even when I make sambal for my business. When the customers ask me if the chili is hot, I'll tell them, all right, today's batch is pretty hot, or today's is pretty mild, sort of thing. So there's no kind of like, you know, standardized way of determining how hot your chili is. Well, I had food poisoning at the start of the year, felt like it was labor and contractions, bought seafood from fish and chips. What shellfish was it you had? Most Aussies live in the city, so like 40% of the country live in Melbourne and Sydney. Yeah, that's true. But you would think there'd be more Sydney-siders watching. They're probably all busy at work, unlike you Melbournians, you know. Alright, so just When you hear like the sizzling kind of like dissipate, then you can start thinking about adding the oil. The other ingredients I'm going to put in are shrimp paste, and I'll show you. Okay, this actually is shrimp paste powder, and literally it says here belacan powder. Okay, in Malaysia, shrimp paste is called belacan. In Indonesia, it's called terasi. In Thai, it's called, I don't know, but it's labeled shrimp paste anyway. So any of these will work. Malaysian belacan usually mostly come in a block. So any recipes you look online that calls for belacan will tell you to, use a half-inch piece of belacan or a, 1-inch piece of belacan, which actually is a lot. But usually they do come in blocks, but that's what they mean, all right? I buy it in powdered form, again, for ease of use. If you were cooking it up the way I'm doing now, you can pretty much spoon the shrimp paste directly in. If you were using a Thai version, usually it's spoonable. It comes in a jar and it's spoonable. But if you were using the Malaysian shrimp paste, it'll be, like I say, it'll be like in a block form. So you cut off like a square of it and throw it in, and cook it up that way. But generally, the idea with the ones in the block is you're meant to actually toast it or roast it till it crumbles into this form. All right, that brings out more of the flavor. So it gives it a more intense flavor if you do that. Okay. Tasted good though. Was Speaking of food poisoning, you know how you always hear about the, not always, sometimes you hear about people eating those Vietnamese pork rolls and getting food poisoning from it. You know what apparently causes it? It's not the meat or anything like that. It's not the hygiene or whatever. Apparently it's caused by the eggs in the mayonnaise, because they make their own mayonnaise that goes into these pork rolls. I don't eat it because I don't eat pork. But yeah, the Vietnamese pork rolls, they like to make their own mayonnaise, and every now and then they might get a bad batch of eggs from the factory which contains salmonella, because to make mayonnaise you have to use raw eggs, and that's what people get sick from. Isn't that fascinating? You always think, oh wow, why are people falling sick from Vietnamese pork rolls? It must be like however they process the pork, or however they maintain their shop and whatever. No, it's nothing like that at all. It's actually just complete randomness from salmonella from eggs coming from whatever factory they buy their eggs from. Okay. Rice can make you very sick. Yeah, I've heard about that too. Jackie, American fast food sucks. I had a trip over there for... When did you go over there? That's what you get for using battery eggs. You think that's what it is? I don't know, actually. You think battery eggs are more susceptible to salmonella? I've no idea. Okay, this thing's dying out now. I'm gonna throw in the belacan, alright? So just random amount. The more you use, the more pungent, intense it will be. You can leave it out completely, guys, if you don't have it, right? So it's not that big a deal. You can still make a nice chili relish with onion and chili. And if you want to add garlic, by all means, go for it too. Okay, so now I'm going to add the oil in, and my oil is in a bag because of my business. This is basically oil that comes back from my market stall, okay? Everything that comes back from my market stall at the end of the day needs to be bagged up so that they don't spill out when I'm transporting them in my car. So if ever you see and you wonder why my oil or whatever else, my chicken stock or whatever else is in the bag, it's because of that. Do have pasteurized eggs too. They're putting on a high pressure to kill off all pathogens. Ah, is that right? Johan, I've got a nice story about eggs. What is it? American food is all processed. Yeah, it is. It's, yeah. Yeah, way too processed, you know. And in all honesty, I think because it's so processed, I think it actually affects their, you know, you eat too much of it long term. I think it actually affects your mental health, your mental well-being. I hear so much about people suffering from anxiety and that sort of stuff. I think a lot of it's to do with the diet, you know. Okay, in goes the oil. Guys who clean up the chicken rooms. use a toxic soap. Now there are a ton of eggs toxic. We are all sure. Is that right? Is that a Dutch thing, or eating their babies? At least we can do is give them a nice place to live. Yeah, that's true. Huh. How interesting is that? Wow. But yeah, you don't even think about food poisoning from eggs, but there you go. I guess you probably should. But yeah, you think the pasteurization would actually kill off, like, are all eggs pasteurized? I don't know. Amber Wamber, oh, thanks for subbing again. Hey, it's really cool. Amber is the coolest. When I own a house, I want to get chicken fresh eggs every day. We used to actually have a, we used to actually have chickens in the backyard. So, this is back in Malaysia, of course. We had chicken, we had geese. Anyone ever owned? We actually had monkeys too in our backyard. I'm not kidding. Monkeys as pets, right? And geese. Geese literally honk. Anyone who lives in a rural part of the, who lives on a farm will know. But you don't know it, like, unless, unless you've lived with geese in the backyard. And it's quite funny. Those. My sister, my older sister, one of my sisters, she was sitting for her final exams, her Form 5 exams, which is kind of like the school leaving exams, really, really important. And she, apparently she slept through her alarm, and then the geese started honking, and her name, her Chinese name, is Feng, right? And apparently it sounded like the geese were saying Feng, Feng. It's like someone calling her name, and she woke up and she made it to school for exams because of that. Isn't that funny? But yeah, they honk, and the sound they make sounds like Feng. Monkeys. Monkeys. The monkeys. We had two monkeys. One was very nice, right? Two different types. I don't even know what they are, but the other one was really vicious, and he actually looked like a punk. He had like like a bald patch in the middle, and like these kind of like, and he was like really, really nasty. And he would look at people walking past, and he would fling his poo at them. So he could be really nasty. And they were my brother's monkeys, and he bought them from, because we lived in a village, and there were some people walking through the village who had captured the monkeys, and he sold it to my brother as pets. So whatever, This is like I said, this is a long time ago, guys. So don't judge us, all right? Okay, let's have a look. I pretty much killed the chicken skin, but it's mostly done. But it's still got patches that are a little bit white, but it's okay. I'll take it out now. I've only got the one big piece of chicken skin. It's kind of sad. I should have taken it out a couple minutes earlier. Okay, but that's the chicken skin. Still a little bit of a soft patch here because it was thicker over there, but that's fine. When I was little, a rooster chased me. I was so scared. Geese are really vicious because they've got long necks. They'll attack you and they'll stick their necks out and kind of like chase you like that. When they stick their necks down like parallel to the ground, that's when they're in attack mode. So we were a little bit scared of the geese. White eggs look like they're made. Yeah, why are the eggs white in America again? Did anyone say it? Yeah, duck eggs are white, right? Yeah, duck eggs are white, and hen eggs are brown. But I don't know why American eggs are white. Somebody said before, I think. All right, so you gotta keep frying this till basically the onion is browned and like crispy. All right, and I'm gonna add some seasoning to it too. Also, I got abducted by kangaroos when I found. Oh, come on, are you serious? Hey, Remy. I got abducted by kangaroos. Apparently white chickens make white eggs. Is that right? Is that right? Huh. So why do they use white chickens? That's is that like a particular breed or something like that? I've no idea. Okay, I'm gonna add some seasoning to this. And of course, I've already got it out. I was trying to find where it was. But I think it's a variety of chickens. Some chickens that lay light blue eggs. Really? Brown chickens make brown eggs. Huh. It's like brown cows make chocolate milk. Yeah, somebody's actually, they actually, I don't know how true it is. Right? I don't know whether people are just trolling, but apparently they did a survey in America and asked about like, you know, about brown cows and chocolate milk. And apparently a bunch of people said that, yeah, that's how chocolate milk is obtained. But I you know, I like to think that they were just trolling the people surveying. Okay, I'm gonna put some chicken powder in here. Okay, you know me, and I'm gonna put a little bit of sugar just to balance out the flavor. I've seen that survey too. Yeah, right. Okay, it wasn't just me. I'll put a dash of fish sauce in here. You can put soy sauce too if you want. My mom uses soy sauce. Sometimes I find soy sauce a little bit overwhelming in flavor. Though to be fair, some people say the same about fish sauce, but yeah, I generally like fish sauce over soy sauce, depending on what I'm cooking, but more so fish sauce and soy sauce anyway. So I need more oil by the looks of it with this thing. But I want to actually, like I said, fry it till it's like dark in color, okay? It's still like very green and very light brown, very light. I wish brown cows make chocolate milk. Chicken powder and everything, I know, right? I'm being very Malaysian. Totally own like a miniature brown dairy cow, that would true. No, you know, I like back in my day, and it's funny because it really shows how the times have changed. Back in my day, growing up in my hometown in Malaysia, I lived in a town 40 miles south of Kuala Lumpur. This is how I walked everywhere, okay? I walked like this my whole life growing up in Malaysia. And you know why? Because in my town in Malaysia, the cows used to roam free. Okay, that's how rural like my upbringing was. Okay, I mean, it wasn't rural, but like it was a town. But like, because like Malaysia, I always tell you guys that Malaysia is multicultural. So about 10 to 15% of Malaysians are actually Indians, and Indians worship cows. All right, so you'll have like, I'm not kidding, there'll be like a field next to the cinema where my dad had a canteen, and there'll be cows just grazing there, okay? Just like, basically like, you know, abandoned properties and whatever, and you see cows like roaming up and down the streets, and I think that it's the Indians who own them and treat them as whatever, pets or something like that, and cows do the biggest like poo, all right? So you'll see the streets, you'll see signs where cows have been, you'll see like either freshly made poo, or you'll see like dried poo everywhere. So my whole life I spent like just with my head down, avoiding the poo, all right, because I was so paranoid about it. And then like I left Malaysia in 1984, and then when I went back for a holiday like years later, no more cows. So at some point, thank God, somebody put a stop to that nonsense. After a shower, 100% cuteness, really? So you avoided eye contact with the no, it's not a cow. I avoided stepping on cow dung. And you know what? When I had to do that again, when I went to France, France is not cow dung, it's dog poo. So that's the other thing as well. The funniest thing was when I went to France, it seemed like the French themselves are oblivious to dog poo. But I could see them because for whatever reason, the French don't have a problem with like cleaning up dog poo after themselves. Drives me insane, all right? But everywhere you went, even in beautiful Paris, right, you see dog poo or like signs of like dog poo or whatever. Oh, it just grosses me out. You gotta worry about that in my suburb as well with all the dogs. Cow species is a literal cake. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It's. I mean, you know, it's just big and it's gross, but you know, I guess, you know, because they eat grass, it's not like it doesn't stink up the whole town the way you would expect it with dog poo anyway. It's a real big dog neighborhood, lots of cats, but they buried it. Yeah. But you know, Highlands, it's funny because certain suburbs in Australia, they're a little bit more astute about, like, you know, when they take their dogs out for a walk, they'll clean up after themselves. And then certain suburbs, they don't do that so much. But I know what you mean, yeah. But generally, it's considered really inappropriate to let your dog poo on someone's yard or something like that. Raining cats and dogs. Cats are so much better with that. yeah, I reckon. That's one I mean, I'm actually a dog person myself, but that's one thing the cats have on the dogs, yeah. Johan, we have to clean the dog's poo, we can get fined. Good, that's how they should do it. They should actually, yeah, where was it? I read somewhere that they actually like did a DNA test or something like that on which dog did the poo. They should do that with all dogs, you know. But here on the, I've noticed on this suburb there are a couple of streets, like, because I parked my vehicle on the street, right, sort of thing, on the nature strip, you know, where there's grass, there's sometimes dog poo, and I hate it, you know, it's really, really irresponsible. And again, like I said, it really depends on the neighborhood you come from, sort of thing, and yeah, and it's not even a racial thing. It seems like all races evenly do that. Right, some of the more high-end suburbs in Sydney, like they have dog poo all over. It's just disgusting. I mean, nowhere near as bad as like France, but yeah. Less likely someone picks up. Oh, gross. What's worse when you find out how milk is really made? Milk's made with squid. Yeah, what are you talking about, Crunchy? So I'm just going to taste test this a little bit. Wow, it's spicy, holy moly. Maybe the chilies were really hot. Wow. Holy crap. Remy will like this. Remy likes really hot food. No, I only wanted to post that, you goose. But again, this is something you can do like once a month or something like that, depending on how quickly you go through your chili, because it will keep really well. Ideally keep it in the fridge, but otherwise, you know, even out of the fridge, it will keep for a few days without starting to go bad. Assuming you live in a fairly, like, assuming it's winter in Australia sort of thing. So sometimes I can leave this out for a few days and it'll be fine. In summer, you do want to be a little bit more careful. Wasn't sure you knew. I once milked a fake cow. What, as a school thing, or what is it? This means I've never like lived on a farm, so I've no idea how to milk a cow. It always seems to be like a thing, you know, to learn how to do it. A lot of cows getting abused and tortured. Aww. See, guys? Don't drink milk. I don't drink milk. Coconut milk. Here in the Netherlands, they don't get abused at all. They can stand under a machine that milks them whenever they feel like it. Oh, really? Let's take good care of dairy cows. Oh, really? How do we do it in Australia? I've no idea. Well, one way milk is made is that. Okay, my chicken in the back should be ready. Let me just check on it. So this is the chicken I boiled for about 20 minutes or so, right? And it's falling apart, so it's actually overdone really. But all I want from it, like I said, is just to shred the meat as a topping for your noodles and that sort of stuff. Quality degrades when they live in in stress and stuff. Inspections too, okay. That's heavily regulated. Same goes for egg chickens and wool sheep. Huh. Cows get impregnated. Oh, that's sad. Cow not bothered with life and just lays on the ground. Oh, don't say that, Crunchy. Are you a vegetarian? That's really sad. I'm vegan now. Yeah, that's enough to drive anyone to veganism, you know? That's really sad. Humans should be actually, you know, like, should take care of the environment, take care of the world, because you're God's representatives on earth, alright guys? It's not for you to abuse, it's for you to use and to nurture. It's more profitable to treat the animals well these days. You think? Cool. Used to be in many places, but regulations have gotten tougher. That's good. Cows still alive and bothered to move on, get the process happen again to them. I've gotta go. Oh, off you go. See ya, Hirelings. Don't forget tomorrow night, campfire, alright guys? I need stories, please. Go to my Discord channel and post your creepy stories, alright? Sammy, I'm still eating chicken and eggs and fish and steak. Yeah, and campfire, and don't forget, by the way, on campfire, if you guys want to actually like get yourselves heard, go and onto my voice channel on Discord. All right, I haven't actually tested out that feature yet, but hopefully it'll work. Hopefully I'll actually be talking to people instead of talking to myself to the camera. All right. I won't be around tomorrow night. I'll be in a large family gathering in Malacca. Oh, cool. I always miss the campfires. Yeah, cause you're a baby, Sammy. You know, Def Lock is from New Zealand and they stay up till like 4 AM for my campfire. I'm not kidding. Or even later. Crunchy, me too, I gotta go. See ya. Bye, Crunchy. So the flavor is actually pretty spot on. I don't need to adjust it. I don't measure anything. It's hard for me to retroactively actually think, oh, how much did I put of this and that sort of stuff, because nothing is that fixed sort of thing. So, but essentially a little bit of a fish sauce, a little bit of sugar, and the belacan, the shrimp paste, has a lot of the saltiness, all right? And of course I put in the chicken powder because I like chicken powder, but you don't have to. Brad, my agent, oh, that's very sweet. If I stay up to 4 AM now and only get 2 hours sleep as my kids go. I know, damn kids, right? It's 6 AM, I'm gonna do some gardening. You serious? When do you sleep, Johan? Yeah, don't even bother timing out, just ban him. So unfortunately, trolls are so unoriginal, you know, with what they say. They think, oh my god, I'm gonna say this, but yeah, just copy paste anything from 4chan or something like that. Try and come up with something more original that will really throw me off. That's a challenge, trolls, guys. I need better quality trolls out there. Gardening, spraying all my weeds, go back inside. Cause I'm nice. When were you ever nice, Remy? Yay, Banhammer. I know, right? I sleep from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Really? Why is that? Do you work like strange hours, or do you, do you just stay up for the games or something like that? You say I'm the nicest mod. I say you're the most hardworking. Okay, this is nearly there. Okay. Thank God that thing didn't actually explode. Okay, you see the steam up the back? Kind of depends. I used to be such a night owl, but since Noah, I know what Sammy means about the kids and whatever. Holidays. Just chill to play games at night. Okay, cool. This is really, really hot. I'm inclined to put a little bit more fish sauce in it, I think, maybe. Alright. And then let me just get a jar for it. Here you go. When I had to care for my dog alone, I had to adjust my sleep schedule too. Aww. Are you sure you put enough chicken powder in? I'm not, I was thinking that. I was thinking that. Did I actually put enough in? So I'm gonna spare you guys from me carrying on about damn chicken powder. I should make my own chicken powder range and actually sell it, you know. Since nobody's sending me any checks for all my plugs. Alright, this is done, alright? So it's like, it looks like it's got that green tinge because I use green chilies, otherwise it'll look like a really, really intense dark red, alright? But flavor wise it's fine. So I have used jalapenos in the past, right? I actually found jalapenos one time at one of these fancy inner city grocers, and I used it to make something like this and it was fine. I can't tell the nuance, like, you know, between a jalapeno and like a regular chili. So I think it all tastes the same to me. Okay. I'm just gonna wash this out quickly and then we're gonna do the crispy onions, alright? And then I need to put the oil on for that. Okay, so this is the chili, and like I said, refrigerated, it'll keep for like 6-8 weeks in your fridge, and you can dig it out every time you feel like having some chili condiment with your noodles or your rice or whatever. So I'll just wash this up, be back. You vape. Okay. So I'm gonna heat up some oil in here. This is technically like deep fried, alright? So a fair bit of oil. And the oil you can reuse. It's gonna have a really nice onion flavor after this exercise, so I don't mind using a lot of my oil for this. Just get rid of this. You know what? I'm actually going to heat this up the back and bring it back when it's hot, because this is going to take forever. Hey Sammy, did you get your t-shirt yet? Because Devlog's got their parcel already, and they're in New Zealand. Oil it up. I know, right? Onions. Okay, so I'm just gonna do about half a dozen onions here. Let me just get my cutting board again. Move this out the way for the moment. Bummer, where's my Okay, this is my slicer. You can use any kind of like a mandolin, right? Really, this is just exactly the right thickness for me. That's why I use this, but it's basically a really cheap, fairly, you know, fairly unsophisticated slicer. But when you're doing fried crispy onion, you want the onions to be evenly sliced, all right? So unless you've got really, really good knife skills, you want to use a mandolin to slice the onions with. Let's get some of these things away. Pouring, people use to store old oil in empty orange juice packages. Why do they store it in like orange juice packages? That's my knife. It doesn't look like, I don't know, my grandpa told me, so maybe it was just your grandpa trolling. Speaking of which, I will show you. Here, there's this thing here. If you find this at your Asian grocery store, pick it up, all right? This thing's called Lye Water, L-Y-E water. And this is what, if you want to attempt making your own noodles at home, this is what, like, you stick a couple of drops into your noodle dough and it turns it like a yellow color right away, okay? So a lot of the Hokkien noodles and that sort of stuff you find at your local Asian grocery store, the yellow is not actually from the egg, it's from lye water, okay? But it is toxic. It's not toxic, it's like, it can be toxic if you drink it, all right? And nowadays in Australia, in the past, you could just pick it off the shelf at your local Asian grocery store. Nowadays, you have to ask for it at the counter because they made it illegal for you to sell it like on the shelves, because apparently some people had mistaken it for actual soft drink and bought bottles of this and drunk it, sort of thing. And what it is basically alkaline water, okay? So the alkalinity actually gives that not al dente, but like that similar to al dente texture to a lot of Asian noodles, okay? So something to pick up. It is toxic, it's not toxic, you can drink it. you put little amounts of it in the noodles. And also, you've seen me make what I call those little bowl cakes, the Untitled in my past broadcast. I didn't put this in there. If I had, it would have given it a little yellow tinge, but also added some bounce to the rice cakes. If you did it the way I did, the rice cakes will be a little bit soft, okay? It will lack that kind of like resistance when you bite into it. This actually provides that, okay? So there's something just handy to keep in your pantry. I haven't actually used it live on air, but I will next time I make noodles. Okay, so onions, gloves. Okay, so I just want to basically peel them, top and tail, and peel them. So this is something I really only do for personal consumption. It's just, you know, you go through so much of it yourself. When I used to make it for my business, people would just eat it all up. You know, they'll ask for extra topping and whatever. And nowadays I use the commercial fried onion if people want some fried onion with their food. I always start to tear up badly cutting onions. Wear goggles, swimming goggles. I used to have to go through so much of this, you know. I used to, because I use the onion juice to marinate my sautés with, right? I used to go through like 40, 60 kilos each time, and that's when you know about tearing up. And I used to do it watching cricket. That's how I got into watching cricket, actually. Cricket like takes like a whole day to play out, right? So you can just set it on the cricket channel and peel onions or skewer sautés. It's really, really like time-consuming activity, mindless activity like that. And then when you try and outsource those activities, you realize people like either do a really bad job of it, as far as skewering sautés in particular, right? Or they either, like, if you pay them by the hour to skewer sautés, they do a really, really slow job of it. That there was one time, this was back in the day when I used to sell one stick of satay for $2, and even that is considered overpriced by Australian standards, right? One stick of satay for $2. My satays were not huge, because I like to kind of like traditional Malaysian satay are meant to be quite small. Over here, people are used to seeing big giant kebabs, you know, so they expect the satays to be large. But I used to make them small, and I used to charge anywhere between $1.50 to $2 an hour, a stick, right? And I would skewer them myself, so I know how many sticks I would do in an hour. Then when you actually pay people to do it, they would do it so incredibly slow. There was one time I calculated it cost me 50 cents per stick of satay for someone just to put 3 pieces of meat onto a bamboo stick. That's how slow they were doing once you work backwards. And then when you tell them you pay them by the stick, then they do a terrible job so that the meat's falling off the stick and it's uneven and it's just horrendous. That's why, you know, that's why I kind of like, that's how I ended up doing things the way I do, basically. Not sell stuff that's labor intensive, or just keep everything small so you can manage it yourself. Let me send to K address to him. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Can you send me, oh yeah, I do have K's address actually. Okay, cool. Refrigerate doesn't evaporate as fast. Onions, volatile gases get in the eyes, make a mouth. How do you know all this, Seal Whiskey? Are you a chemist? Just cut the onion up. I'll work, Jackie, if you open a restaurant again. I know. Everybody says that though. But everybody sees me. They hit me up for work when they're in between jobs, but they don't see like working for me as a long-term thing. I've got staff that work for me, that have worked with me for years and years now. But it's like nowadays, like I say, I only sell food 1 day a week now. So that's, you know, they do other things the rest of the week. But most other people see it as kind of like, oh, I'm out of a job at the moment, can you hire me? And yeah. But they ask for a lot of money too, you know. I was looking for, like, I was filming a couple of weeks ago. I was filming basically some videos for one of my clients, right? For a marketing campaign. And I put the word out, all right? Basically the scope was that I just need someone, because Noah was coming with me, and the client's aware of it. But Noah, it's easier, like if I go into a restaurant and they're filming me, and Noah's sitting in the stroller. I said, I just need someone to hang out with him in the stroller. You can take him to the park or whatever in between shoots, and you can join me and eat the food at the restaurant, because we were featuring a number of restaurants, and whatever. It's going to be a really chill day. And the kind of money people were asking to do that, right? It was just really, really like soul destroying. It's like, what do you think? I'm like some kind of like, you know, some kind of like big time celebrity or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I ended up finding some guy who worked out really, really well. But you know, he wasn't like ridiculous, like trying to get rich off me, sort of thing. But yeah, I had people. I'm unemployed at the moment, but I won $300 for the day just to push your son around in a stroller. Things really, you know. I don't want to work for you. If you want, I'll come and try your food. I get curious. Looked up quite a. Oh, cool, radio. You seem to know a lot of stuff. Yeah, everybody says that, like, you know, with my restaurant, oh, you know, kind of like, oh, come and eat there, or like, when are you opening a restaurant again? So I'm not, you know. I remember the bad old days when I was stuck on my own. Like, I mean, and that's the thing as well. I know how to cook everything. I know how to do everything from scratch myself. But a lot of restaurant owners, they're held hostage by like really like demanding chefs. And, you know, the chef might not show up for work and they're stuck. They can't do anything. So I've known of people who were stuck in that situation. I know this woman. A lot of people like the idea of owning a restaurant without knowing the first thing about how to cook, right? There was one woman I knew who was a Malaysian, also an immigrant, and it's always the case. They have like a egg hatcher. Thanks for following. If you open a restaurant, I'll work for peanuts. Yeah, you'll move from Melbourne too. A lot of people. A lot of people, they like I said, they have a little bit of a nest egg, you know. They've worked like high-flying jobs their whole life, and then they think, oh, all I really want to do is own my own restaurant, right? And that happens a lot with Malaysians, because they come to Australia and they miss the food, but you know, they've had a good job their whole life, so they spend all their money to open a restaurant. There's this woman who opened a restaurant, spent $400,000 to open it up, didn't know how to cook, right? And this restaurant was fitted out. Like I said, the fit out I think cost $400,000 or something ridiculous like that. And this was at the Rocks in Sydney. If you know Sydney, the Rocks is kind of like a high traffic tourist area. But the restaurant itself was a little bit weird. It was like almost like on the virtually like a pseudo basement level of this building in the Rocks, right? And yeah, she got held hostage by her chef. They didn't show up for work, demanded more money. And she called me up and asked me if I wanted to take it over. I said, no, I'm all right. She tried to sell it to me for $100,000. And I said, I don't want to deal with it, you know. It's not like I've got an easy $100,000 sitting around either. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, if nobody shows up for work, I can still do everything, you know. I'm not the sort of person to be, yeah, put out like that. Hang on. Okay. Hey, thanks for hosting, Brad. I expect a nice ending story that you helped her out. Yeah, I know 400,000 without. Hey, Aishai, how you doing? Aishai, did you get your speaker in the mail yet? Because I sent it out this time last week, I think. Yeah. I'd like to open a restaurant one. Don't do it, Eilings. Trust me. Don't do it. This is coming from someone who actually did it. Okay, I'm just gonna shred this, right? No, I couldn't help her out because, like I said, she wanted $100,000 from me, you know. So it's not like I had like an easy $100,000 sitting around. So, and eventually she closed it. So, yeah. I wouldn't. I hate customers. I'd like to work at one at least. Why? But look, Highlinks, you can walk into virtually any restaurant in Australia and they'll offer you a job. That's how I used to do it. I used to, anybody who walked in, I would offer them the job, who wanted a job. I didn't care about the experience. To me, just actually showing up to ask if I had any position going was enough for me, because I was always so desperate for staff. I hired all kinds of people. Honestly, people will come up to me and say, "Hey, my son, you know, my year 10 son would like a job." And say, "Yeah, sure, bring him in." And then they don't tell you things like, "Oh, you know, he's got." There was one time, yeah, someone actually asked me for a job for their son, and I realized why he was very strange. His behavior turned out he was like severely autistic. All right, not that I have a problem with it, but it'd be nice if I'd been given a heads up. But yeah. And he actually ended up in the mental hospital like a few years later. So he wasn't like just someone who like had mild, you know, issues that I had to know ahead of time. But yeah, I do enjoy cooking and stuff. Ah, cool. Did your idea to make noodles come from my soup a week ago? So want me to make my yeah, actually maybe it's actually a bit of that and a bit of Remy actually talking about. Remy was whining the other day about when I made some prawn stock paste. She was saying, "Oh, not everybody eats prawns, you know." So I'm doing a beef soup at the moment because of that. Way to provide, yeah, poor guy. Yeah, at least he got help. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you know, I feel really horrible for him. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's, so many people have, you know, you know, have issues in terms of. I mean, I don't expect everyone to be like some major, like, you know, super duper higher or anything like that. But yeah, sometimes it's tough, you know. But yeah, he was the kid who basically took an hour to peel 12 potatoes, you know, so that worked out to be like, like I say, it was like in year 10, that worked out to be $1 a potato for me, you know. So I ended up saying, okay, we're not peeling potatoes anymore. We're eating the skin. Everybody likes prawns. I like prawns. I'm saying, yeah, not everybody does. I know, right? Yeah, I love prawns. You're on my wavelength, Highling. $1 per potato, that guy worked it out. Pretty slow potatoes. I know, when you're coming from a business perspective, you know, it's really tough. And I used to cop it from both sides. People on the other hand will say, "Oh, I can't believe she charges that much for her, whatever, I can," you know. And that's the other thing that really annoyed me, especially backpackers are the worst, you know. They'll come to my store or my restaurant and they'll order a roti or something like that. And back in the day, I might charge $7 for a roti, all right? Considering I've got to pay thousands in rent and thousands more in insurance and in like council rates and staff as well. Look, in my time, right, I've done Malaysian food like for over 20 years, full time less than 20 years, but longer than that before that. And I've hired and fired people. I've had like, you know, shout down matches with some of my staff because they don't always work out. But I challenge anyone to find any of my former staff who has a bad thing to say about me as far as stripping them off. Holiday, thanks for following. You know, because they all will tell you that Jackie always paid them like, you know, above award rates. I always paid them really well and like cut them a lot of slack. Tina, thanks for following. So yeah, it's just, you know, just like, you know, I'd cop it from like customers who say, oh, especially, you know, like I said, backpackers, you know, well, one time I remember, like I said, $7 for a roti, and some smart ass backpacker say, oh, I just came from Malaysia for, I was just traveling through Malaysia and it cost 50 cents there, you know, and you just want to slap them around the face. It's totally different doing business in Malaysia as it is doing business in Australia. So I tell them, look, it's yes, it's 50 cents plus the return airfares to Malaysia from Australia, thank you. So yeah. I used to work my ass off at a bakery, but the boss was gave me working slow. So for a roti is pretty good. Yeah, look, Travel Nate, thanks for following. You'll go back there and get your 50 cents roti. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And when I used to, there's this event here in Sydney called the Hyde Park Night Noodle Markets. And Hyde Park is basically this big giant park right in the middle of Sydney City. And once a year for 3 weeks, it shuts, basically has this kind of like a pop-up restaurant thing with like a bunch of different food stalls. And I used to run a stall there for years and years until they banned Noah from showing up. Noah's my little Down syndrome kid, right? But yeah, I used to be there all the time. And and the food there was super expensive because they would charge both like your rent and they would want 20% off like your sales as well. But yeah, you know, that was like really, really like intense, hard work sort of thing. But I used to get massive, massive lines of people for my food. So I was pretty well known back in the day. Why did they ban him? I love those pop-up restaurants. Think of the Indian bread, since I make roti quite often. Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, hang on. Let me grab the oil and I'll tell you about Noah's story. Hang on. Okay, this oil is probably even a little bit too hot, so I'll let it cool down a little bit. Roti canai, you're talking about naan bread, not ones that ban children. Well, they ban, basically, like Noah was born 5 years ago and he was very sick in hospital. He spent the first 7 months of his life in the ICU. And Hyde Park Night Noodle Market is always on in October. So like I said, I did it for years and years. So the first year, he was born in May. That October when I was doing the markets, and it's the most intense block of time in my calendar year. Is also, you can imagine, because I have a restaurant, I have markets and all that sort of stuff right through the year. It's only when it hits October and I know the Hyde Park Night Noodle Market's coming up, that's when I actually, my books actually balance out, because that's when I bring in a lot of cash to kind of offset all the losses of the preceding months, right? So that October, Noah was very, very sick in hospital, and I was actually running back and forth between the market and the hospital. And the market actually only runs from the afternoon till nighttime, but you have so much work to do that you actually have to get there early in the morning to unload all the stuff, right? So the first year Noah was in the hospital, I was running back and forth to the hospital, you know. The next year he was out of the hospital by that stage, right? So I actually brought him along. So for three weeks, basically you're selling food, but in the back, there's this area like up the back, a fair amount of space up the back for you to kind of like leave all your gear. And I left Noah in a playpen in the back, all right? And then the following, which was fine, the following year, when I set up the playpen, they said, no, you can't have him anymore. All right, so he can't even be at the back of your stall, not anywhere near the vicinity of where you run your business. So I then had to hire an extra staff for that particular market to push him around in his stroller for 5 to 7 hours per day, in the park, because it's in the park, right? And then just come back to me every now and then, say, oh, he needs a nappy change, or can I grab a nappy off him and off you, and that sort of stuff, all right? And they saw that interaction. So sometimes, you know, we had to sneak him around the back, you know, to kind of like either, you know, kind of like give him a cuddle or to change his diaper or something like that, right? But 99% of the time he was in the park. But when he did come around, they did see it, okay? They said, no, he's not allowed in this area. So, you know, they noticed that. And then the following year, which was 2 years ago, they actually added an additional clause in the agreement, right? Because this is quite a big event and it's very formalized. They added an additional clause in the agreement that says not only is he not allowed in the area, but when you arrive in the morning to unload your vehicle, he's not allowed to be in the vehicle with you. And that's when I said, no, I can't do that. I can tolerate hiring someone to push him around in a stroller for the 5 or 7 hours when we're actually trading. But if I can't even show up in the morning, it would mean that I have to hire a person from morning till night, and I just can't afford it. So I said, no, I won't go anymore. So essentially, yeah. That's really not on you. You're the one making the money. Yeah, look, it's such a big event that they don't need me as badly, as they used to. When they started out, I was the only Malaysian foods. I was the first Malaysian food place that traded at the Hyde Park Night Noodle Market, and used to have lines so long. And then when other Malaysian businesses saw how I was doing, they started showing up. And in fact, other Malaysian places would actually copy my menu, even the look of my menu, right? And then, set up a stall across from me the next year. So every year the dynamics will change, So yeah, like I said, it would confuse people. People would think the other stall is actually me, and it's not. That's because they copied the way my menus were designed, and the menu options. And usually they'll be cheaper as well, okay? So still, but that's the nature of running a business, it's dog eat dog and whatever, so they can do what they want. But that actually happened across a number of my markets. When I gave up my restaurant for Noah, I still had about 5 different markets a week that I was trading at. But gradually, different market organizers will have different tolerance levels about you bringing your kid along, all right? So it got to the point where I was reduced to just 2 markets a week. And then about a year and a half ago, like late 2015, I hit the news again because the one, like I said, I had 2 markets left, and one of them I had been trading at for 14 years. Even before I started on my restaurant, I actually started at the market first, right? And I've been there, like I said, for 14 years. I got a phone call on the Thursday morning. The market's on every Saturday morning. I got a phone call on Thursday morning by someone who works for the market owner, and said, I just want to give you a heads up, but there's actually a member of the public who's been going around getting petition signatures from the markets to get your son removed from the market. All right? And I think, well, like I said, I put up with like different market organizers having different tolerance levels, and I get like the odd kind of like disapproving look when I'm trading at the markets. It's like, why is your kid here? Why isn't he in childcare? And shouldn't you be looking after him, sort of thing. It's a very Western concept, right? That kids should be in childcare, like there should be a segregation of work and the family and that sort of stuff. And then she said, and this petition that's been going around, this guy has managed to get the support of the stalls around you, because the stalls around you are claiming that Noah's presence at the market, like I said, he sits in the playpen at the back of my stall, his presence at the market is affecting their ability to trade. I was thinking, well, if I don't even have the support of my market stall fellow market stall operators, then I might as well go. So I posted that on social media, just say, hey guys, just want to give you a heads up, that this coming Saturday is going to be my last day at the market because of this. And that created a huge media uproar. So I became national and international news for a week or two. So so I was in the New Idea magazine. I was on the Daily Mail front page. I was in Daily Telegraph. The news. The SBS News came with their cameras on my last day at the market and filmed me, interviewed the person who told me about the situation and whatever. But the funny thing was, when I actually talked to the stallholders around me, some of whom I'd known for 14 years, I'd actually been next to them for 14 years, they said, what petition? We never saw any petition, so somebody is lying or somebody is making it up. So it's a very, very debatable, and it got so bad, it caused such a huge uproar because Noah, like I said, has Down syndrome, and I'm not the sort of person, you never see me like, and maybe sometimes I should I don't play up the victim angle very much, all right, if at all. Like I don't like to kind of like be all like, oh, poor me, or please follow me and whatever, I'm desperate, and a lot of people do that. I don't, all right. But people like that kind of like that victim angle, okay, so they play it up. So on the Daily Mail, on the front cover of the Daily Mail, it says, single mom sort of like kicked out of market because of her Down syndrome child, which essentially is what happened. But I thought that it played up too much of the victim angle, that it got people really, really riled up, you see. So a lot of people who are disability advocates got so upset about it, they threatened to boycott the market, and it just got really, really ugly from a PR perspective for the market. Okay, to the point where the market organizers say, look, it's nothing to do with us, you know, it was our employee, we love Jackie, and it's not our fault. And then it just got worse because it sounded like they were blaming their employee for letting me know about the petition. They say, oh, look, you know, oh, we were overseas, you know, we didn't even know this was going on, our employee was incompetent, they should have kept this in-house and not even told her about it. And what I said, the way they did it just got worse and worse for them. And in the end, I actually, because they actually messaged me and they said, look, you have to make this right, Jackie. You know, you have to actually put a stop to this because there's 150 stalls there and their livelihoods are at risk because of you, okay? So I actually went back to the market 2 weeks later on. I went back for a few months and then I left again for good, all right? But but that's why I actually do a lot of live streams now, is because of this. So I actually am down to just one market a week, and that's my only cash positive, like aspect of my brand now. So, but that's just live, you know. At least some PR. They still want you to fix their problem. Yeah. Actually, they threatened lawsuits as well. Not against me directly because it looked really bad, but I was called up by all the TV networks, you know, to tell my story. And then I remember Channel 9 specifically, they were on their way with their camera crew to film me, right? When their producer called me up and said, I'm sorry, we have to pull out, okay? Because, and even the SBS news story, like I said, it was featured on national news. If you go to the SBS news story, the video has been pulled. And I think it's because they were threatened with a lawsuit because they said they were defaming the market sort of thing, so who knows. But anyway, it's all history now. Okay, so we're gonna fry this up in smallish batches because it does froth up quite quickly, all right? Because of the moisture content in the onion, you just gotta be careful that you don't actually you don't have so much oil that it actually froths over. I'm going to eat now. Okay, cool. So this kind of market, yeah, it's a virtual market. Okay, so Johan is gonna kill me because the oil is up. That's the other thing as well, like if you put too much in your hot oil, it's gonna bring down the temperature too quickly and it won't be hot enough sort of thing. And so just be mindful of that, all right? And also just be mindful about agitating this too much because it will actually bring the temperature down too quickly. So you want to gently stir this, and if you're using a wok and like a heat source like an open flame, you're going to find that the heat distribution is going to be concentrated around the outer rim of this, okay? So in other words, the onions on the outer rim will cook faster than the inside. So you got to stir it around a little bit, okay? Just to make sure they're evenly cooked. Like I said, I'll put a little bit too much oil, I'll put a little bit too much onion in here so the oil is settling a little bit, but it doesn't matter. It will come back up to heat, and you want to fry it till all the moisture is basically drained out. All right. And the other thing you want to do is you want to keep an eye on it. At the start, it's going to seem like it's taking forever to brown, but when it does start browning up, it will brown up very, very quickly. That's when you kind of like got to keep a very, very close eye on it, and take it out like a few shades before the right shade of brown you want it to be, okay? Because what happens is that it will continue to keep browning up even after you take it out of the oil, okay? So if you brown it to where you want it and you take it out, it's going to turn black, okay? So just be careful about that. See you, Remy. This is outrageous. But you know, crap happens, and it's just a matter of like, you know, kind of, I guess, adjusting your life around it. I prefer live streaming to actually running a restaurant, for what it's worth. Do you ever sweat the onions with salt to remove moisture before? No, I've never done that. See, you know all these stuff. No, I've never done it. I don't know if it might actually, should we try that? It'd be interesting to see how it changes behavior wise. Okay, see, this is actually like I said, it's slowed down quite a lot. Okay, so these offcuts from using the slicer, you can keep like, you know, for your next dish, because if you know my cooking, you know I use a lot of pureed onion, all right? So usually what I'll do is I'll throw this into a takeaway box, keep it in the fridge till next time I need to actually mince or puree onion. Let's see how the soups turned out. Okay, so the great thing about this pressure cooker is that the handles are actually cool to touch, even though the soup is really super hot. Okay, so let me see if you can see it a little bit. Just put it on a piece of cloth over here. It doesn't have any seasoning, like any like flavoring in it, and you know what I'm going to put in there, right? Chicken powder and pepper. I'm going to put pepper in it. So chicken powder usually. Aglo Mustafa, Aglos Mustafa Glow. Thanks for following. Usually I use about 1 tablespoon of chicken powder per liter, per half liter, I forget now. Everything I do is so guesstimating. I just do it instinctively, I don't even think. Alright, but you can always add more if once you've taste tested this. I want some pepper in here as well. There's a fair bit of oil here. You can see a layer of oil over here. That's because the beef bones, you know, can be a little bit fatty. Okay, so white pepper, okay. And I've mentioned before, someone asked what type of pepper, and somebody else mentioned, somebody else who was Asian in my forum, in my chat, said, oh, we Asians only use white pepper, which probably is true. I haven't really thought through that carefully. Okay, so let's see if the beef is soft, all right. Okay, it is. Yep, oh wow. It's like virtually like falling apart soft, okay. So a lot of the fat is actually in the beef brisket as well. How long did that pressure cook for? I don't know, about 40 minutes or so, but this is like really, really soft, which is great. Let's taste test this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fabulous. Let's try a little bit more. I'm thinking, more chicken powder or not? I think it's just right. The other thing the Vietnamese do, right, with their beef noodle soup is they put a little bit of sugar in it. And usually, if you want to be really, like, Cobber, thanks for following. If you want to be really spot on, you can use rock sugar, all right? You can buy that at Asian grocery stores, but a lot of the time we don't even bother. Rock sugar is like, kind of like crystallized sugar, okay? It's probably healthier for you, but yeah, you can just use straight out sugar. I'm contemplating whether I should or shouldn't. Maybe just a touch, okay? Okay, I don't even know what the capacity is, what, about 5 liters or something like that. And I only put 2 tablespoons of chicken powder in it. Probably because the bones, right? The bones take up a lot of the volume. Okay, so this, just to refresh everyone's memory, this had beef bones and it had beef brisket, okay? And it had onion and garlic. And it had like a little bit of these cloves and star anise, and usually you would put a little bit of cinnamon in it as well, okay? I didn't have cinnamon today. Okay. And then as far as seasoning, I put some chicken powder and a little bit of sugar. Maybe it needs a little bit more sugar. Yeah, when my mom makes beef noodles, beef soup, she doesn't put sugar in it, all right? Like I said, it's a bit of a Vietnamese thing. Okay. A hint more chicken powder. sugar in soup is nice. You know, it's quite interesting. Like the Thais, I always say the Thais like their sugar a lot more than we Malaysians. All right. The strangest thing I've seen when eating out in Cabramatta, which is in Sydney, right? A lot of like Southeast Asian restaurants in Cabramatta, was seeing like a tub of sugar at your table. Usually when you go eat in Malaysia, right? At the hawker stall or even at the restaurant, they'll have all these condiments at each table, and it'll usually be like soya sauce, because Malaysia, like I said, even though I use fish sauce, in my part of Malaysia, fish sauce is virtually not used. So you have soya sauce, you have chili sauce, and you might have fresh chili. All right, those are the basic condiments. And then I ate out at this place in Cabramatta, which was Thai, serving what looks like normal Chinese food, like soupy noodles and whatever, but they have a tub of sugar. And I went there with a Thai friend once, and it's like they order a bowl of noodles, right, in soup like this, and they start spooning sugar into their soup. It's like crazy, but that's how they do it. You know, they like their sugar more than we Malaysians do. We Malaysians, when we put sugar, we put a little bit just to kind of like take the edge off, like the saltiness or something like that. But yeah, it's just that's just a minor little nuances. Like if you eat like Thai curries, you'll usually find that it's a balance of sweet, sour, and salty, right? Malaysia, so it's fairly distinctly sweet. If you remember like your Thai curry or something like that, you know, if you look for it, you can taste the sweetness. Look at how soft the I don't know if you can see it, but it's really, really soft. Melt in your mouth kind of softness. Okay, so that's the beef stock, and if you want, you can strain it out. All right, I don't mind it the way it is. It does, like I say, have a layer of oil over it because of the brisket and the beef bones and stuff like that. But let's put this aside. And go back to this onion. Okay, you see what I mean? It does take a little while to fry up. But then I've got the chicken, which would have cooled down. The chicken is for a different dish. In case you're just joining us now, the chicken is for something that my daughter is coming around to eat later on. All right, so this is just basically chicken. The skin I took off and fried in the air fryer. So that's the air fried chicken skin over here. And this chicken I just boiled in some water for about 20 minutes, probably a bit longer than that. And I'm just going to actually shred it because my daughter is coming over to eat noodles also in a soup, but in a prawn soup base, okay? But ironically, even though she likes the prawn soup base, she doesn't actually eat real prawns as such. That's why I'm doing chicken for her, okay? Which is actually, you know, which actually usually goes on top of the prawn noodles as well. So we put 1 spoon of sugar per bowl. Really balances the chili and vinegar. So Aisha, you do that. Yeah, because you're Thai, right? You're part Thai. Part Thai. You have a daughter. Yeah, I've got a 25-year-old daughter. And she's coming over, of all things, because I'm getting her and her husband to help change the light bulbs. There's a couple of light bulbs in this place that have blown. And I mean, it's not that I don't know how to change light bulbs, but it's like too high for me to reach up to the ceiling. And these are like fairly involved, like light fixtures, like you need tools to to pull them apart, sort of stuff. So I figured, like, they've got a ladder, come on over and change my light bulbs, and I will feed you in exchange. Damn, my age, my age. I know. Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, and my daughter is one of those half-baked Asians, like half Asian, half white. So she's got an Asian brain, but a white laid-back attitude. All right, so I'm just basically gonna tear this. Like, this is the chicken breast, it's the biggest part of the chicken. So I'm just basically shredding it, okay? And then I'm gonna season it. Yeah, my daughter actually started university as she got into Sydney University to do molecular biology and genetics, and she got a an automatic scholarship because she was the top student going into that course, which only takes in like 35 people a year. So she did that for a year and decided no, because she wants to just be a maths teacher because she's a bit of a maths prodigy. So she switched to a science degree with maths as her major, and then she went to do an education degree, and then she went and taught for 1 term, and she decided, no, I don't want to teach, it's too stressful. So now she works at a vet clinic because she loves animals. Still, I guess when you're young and you're happy with it. But yeah, she could have been a lot of things. Holy Jordan, thanks for following. Okay, so you can see these, they're just like shredded chicken. Alright, and do more of it. When I was at uni, I went to a uni church. It was obviously a church, university level church. Not at my university. I went to Sydney University as well, but I lived over in the eastern suburbs, when near the New South Wales Uni campus is. And the New South Wales Uni campus has basically a campus church called Uni Church. And the guy who founded it, he was very big on telling people, look, don't pursue like all the high end, like not don't pursue it, but like, use your uni education to be teachers, because that's where you can really impact society, right? So that's how my younger sister ended up being a teacher, and that's why my daughter wanted to be a teacher. She thought, oh, she's gonna like she's gonna like, impact all these young lives, like young impressionable lives. And yeah, that didn't last. Noodles in my mouth. Noodles are so easy, the other noodle dish I was planning to make actually today, I think I might do it on Monday, but it also involves beef, but it's something from my hometown called Seremban, which is my hometown's name, Seremban beef noodles. I thought that it might take a little bit longer than I have, because I want to actually make the noodles from scratch as well, and also use beef bones to make the stock for it. But it's going to be actually a what we call dry style noodles. Okay, so it'll have like a sauce instead of a soup, but the soup is served on the side as yeah. But yeah, it uses tapioca noodles, and I was going to make the tapioca noodles from start. How old are you, Jackie, if I may ask? How old do I look? The age range was getting older and older the other day. Who was it? Who was it who said, oh, they thought I was their age, and they were 37. I said, no, I'm older. And then they said, oh, I was in my 40s. It's like, how old do I look, guys? Come on, bring it. Somebody said 65 one time. Not a day past 20. I wish. I am. I'm gonna lose a bunch of followers once I tell you guys. I thought about 27, your daughter is 25. Yeah, I know. It's the Asian genes, you see, I tell people. You eat Asian food, you end up looking like me. I told it once when on Twitch. It was a long time ago, so people have forgotten, or you guys weren't around then. I am. Hold your seats. I'm 50 years old. So I'm trying to go against the grain, you see. It's always cool to act. It's easy to kind of like try and be cool. It's hard to be so uncool that it's cool, you know what I mean? That's why on my I know, right? Like I said, eat Asian food every day and you look like me at 50. Yeah, that's why I play really dorky songs on my campfire. It's only you guys. I thought Jackie would be like 33-ish. Oh, that's very sweet. That's very sweet. But yeah, that's why I quote Bible verses and I play like the carpenters on my campfire and that sort of stuff. I try and be I try and be so unhip that people can see the value in being completely uncool, alright? Okay, so this is the chicken and you want to drench this with sesame oil and pepper. And you can use just straight salt, but I'm going to use, you know what, chicken powder, okay? So in case you're watching me for the first time, I use this like it's going out of style. I'm not getting paid to promote this, I wish I was, but this is like using chicken stock cubes, but in powder form. Similar, but it's better in my opinion. But we Asians use it a lot in our cooking. So we drench this in flour. 540p corn. When you had a daughter anyway. Alright, so chicken powder, and I want pepper, lots of pepper in here. Okay, and I put a fair bit of chicken powder in this. If you were using salt, you put a fair bit of salt as well, because there's a certain appeal in having like your chicken garnish on top of your bowl of noodles to be a little bit salty, alright? But it's entirely like, look, you know, if you want it really bland, don't put anything in it, okay? Okay, sesame oil. Okay, chicken. Alright, let's toss this. Look at how long this is taking. I hate this little camping stove. So if anybody works with a stove company who wants to sponsor my Twitch broadcast, ask your bosses to talk to me, alright? So just toss this around, and I need more oil. Let me go and grab some. Okay, so sesame oil. Sesame oil in Asian cooking, sesame oil is always roasted sesame oil. All right, I know with Western, you know, health food stores, you can buy like raw sesame oil. Okay, I've run out of gas. Let me just switch this out. So this is not like pure crushed sesame oil. This is like roasted, toasted sesame oil. Okay. In, turn this back on. I'll hit you up with a frying pan, a spare one. I've got plenty of frying pans. I need I thought those gas canisters lasted longer. They do, because that was like a hard, they last about, look, in all honesty, about an hour and a half of full-on cooking. But, you know, obviously that's been used before. But yeah, sesame oil, they come in different grades as well, alright, so, okay, it says special restaurant quality, which means low grade. I don't know, I just ordered it from the store, and I'll let them pick out the brands for me. But if I were doing this for personal consumption, I wouldn't, first of all, I wouldn't buy it in such big tubs, right? But if I were using for personal consumption, the brand I like, something called Yo's, Y-E-O''S. There probably are other good ones there. I think Chang's has a good sesame oil, alright? But the purer the sesame oil, like, you know, the more expensive it is, but it's worth paying for the added quality, okay? So that's something to keep in mind when you're shopping for it. Okay. Isn't expensive to continuously refill the stove. well, these canisters cost about $1.20 to $1.50 each. All right, so it's actually much of a muchness in all honesty. Yeah, so $1.20, $1.50. Yeah, for an hour and a half's cooking, it's okay. Okay, so lots of oil, toss it around, and then you can store it in your fridge for up to a week. All right, I wouldn't bother freezing this because, yeah, it won't be so nice once it's frozen. But this, again, you can sprinkle it over your noodles if you're like, you know, if you want some, even for some ramen or something like that, if you're really lazy and you just want to buy those instant ramen, just throw it on, right? Yeah. Not that bad, yeah, $1.20, $1.50. So this is getting there, guys. Let me just put a few things away. And I'm going to actually heat up some water to blanch the noodles and greens and all that with. That I'm going to serve up with the beef stock, beef soup. Okay. I totally forgot about this. This is the what do you call it? The tripe. Oops. I'll do it off air because I'm running out of time. But this is tripe, right? That you can boil in water for probably about half an hour, 40 minutes or something like that. Preferably salted water if you eat tripe, if you eat that sort of stuff. And you can serve it up with your noodles as well, alright? Okay, so this is nearly done. I just need I need the soup. Okay, I would actually take it out now. Okay, because it will continue browning. After it comes out, okay. So it's soft now, but it will crisp up when it cools down. So let me just get. And you can put some like paper towels at the bottom here if you want. Okay, so it doesn't look very brown now. It will brown out a little bit more. Okay. Let me throw some more in while I'm waiting for the water to heat up for my noodles. Okay. So let's try a little bit of this. I'm hungry now. Let's break up the chicken crackling. So the chicken crackling, again, if you don't eat chicken skin, peel it off. You need to do this raw. either throw it in the air fryer, season it a little bit with some of that chicken powder and some pepper, toss it in a little bit of oil and throw it in the air fryer for about 15 minutes or so. Otherwise you can just deep fry it here. And that just gives you crispy chicken skin. And as far as the noodle, the veggies, I've got some bean sprouts here. So that's very traditional to go with your beef noodles. And I've got some garlic chives. These are left over from my market stall. Oh, see you, Jordan. See you, Johan. All I had today was 2 egg sandwiches. See you, Jordan. I don't eat sandwiches, you know, unless they're really, really super special. I'm very Asian in my palate, and Noah's turning out like that as well. Let's try this out. Okay. Okay, so you see this here, once it's cooled down, it does tend to clump up a little bit, so just toss it around. Don't have it in one big lump because the heat will actually start like producing steam, and the steam might actually cause them to go soggy again. Devlog, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm not leaving, just checking on something. I love sandwiches, probably why. I don't eat like bread as a matter of course. But when I do, I can notice that my face starts to get puffy, I find, eating bread. But the only time I eat bread is like Malaysian style again, kind of like there's this thing called Hainanese kaya toast, which is made of like steamed, well it's not steamed actually, it's basically Hainanese bread that's like really, really light and fluffy, and it's toasted traditionally on like a charcoal, and it's spread with kaya, which is like a coconut jam. It's so nice. And yeah, I stopped making the bread because I couldn't stop eating it. It's terrible. Okay. So this has turned out like just perfect, right? You see, this is just the right shade of brown you want, and this will keep indefinitely outside the fridge. Okay, so you can make big tubs of this and like just pull it out every time you have noodles or whatever else you think will be enhanced with fried shallots, okay, or fried onions. How are you, Devlog? I was just I was shaming Sammy earlier about how you stay up really late in New Zealand to watch my campfire stories, and she came back with, oh, that's because she's got kids, which is fair enough. Her kids wake up at 6 AM, so she can't stay up all night. Okay. Put the rest of these away. So I'm going to be a bit random by using some Gailan. This is a Chinese green. Just getting a little cold here. That's what happens when you live in New Zealand. That's why you should move back to Australia. Okay, so this is Gailan, or what we call Chinese broccoli. Okay, I'm gonna poach some of this in the water to serve up my noodles with. But it's a little bit unconventional, alright? It's not, but you know, you can have whatever you want with your beef noodles, okay? But traditionally, if you were having it Vietnamese style, you have a lot of different herbs to go with it, all right, which I don't have, unfortunately. But yeah, bean sprouts is the main like vegetable that goes with Vietnamese beef noodles, okay? You know I'm right there, Flop. Bet you're wishing you're in Brissy now. Okay, so with Chinese greens, usually, here you go, you got the stems and you got the leaves. Usually the stems you will throw into the water first because they're a bit tougher. Take a little bit longer to cook. When I say longer, we're talking seconds, alright guys, so don't boil these for 10 minutes. Kai lan, this particular veggie, has slightly tougher, it's basically a little bit tougher than your average Chinese veggie. But usually when I tell my staff to cook Chinese greens, I tell them throw in the boiling water, count to 5, dish it out, okay? So don't boil it for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. You got to be very, very careful or you'll kill it. And in fact, the Vietnamese, a lot of the time when they serve beef noodles, they have the bean sprouts raw, okay? Being Malaysian, I like my bean sprouts blanched. So when I eat it in Cabramatta, I sometimes ask them to blanch my bean sprouts for me. But it's a personal preference thing. The Vietnamese do eat more raw veggies than we Malaysians do. So these are the, and they eat a lot more herbs with their noodles than we Malaysians do. So these are like the minor differences among the races, among the different cultures. Well, the households are just in the process of packing, sorting stuff. So where are you going to move to? I hope you've got some place to move to. And congratulations, by the way. Alright, so this is coming to a boil. I'm going to do this up the back here because it's plugged in up the back and my workspace is a bit crowded over here. So throw in the greens, right? Followed by the leaves. Throw in the stems, I mean. And usually I'll blanch them out and take them out and then throw in the noodles. But what do I do with the noodles? Alright, I was showing you guys the noodles earlier. What did I do with it? Did I put it away? So they're the greens over here, and that's about done. Take that out. And if you use the kind of noodles I use, you can virtually just like pour boiling water from the kettle over it, and that will be enough, because all you want to do is soften it, alright? Where did the noodles go? Okay, here they are. Because they're actually already cooked. So these are just your regular fresh rice noodles you can pick up at your local Asian grocery store. So toss in the noodles and take it out right away. I need a bigger sieve. the noodles and the greens, and the soup goes over it. Alright, so I'm not using the sliced beef. I'll do it another time. You can throw in the fried shallots over it. And again, you can throw in some of the bean sprouts. Alright, so that's your noodles. There you go, Aishai and Remy were the ones who inspired me to do this, alright? So there you go. Devlog going to travel for a bit. Oh, very cool. Just go where the wind blows. Oh, very cool. Alright, so there you go. That's your beef noodles. It tastes really nice, guys. Trust me, it tastes really nice. I'll post a recipe on my website, which is just jackiem.com.au. If you are actually one of my newsletter subscribers, you get a weekly digest of all my recipe posts and other posts, right? And just in the last, if you received this morning's digest, you will realize that I actually posted 8 blog posts in the last week, so it's crazy. But yeah, so this will appear in at some point on my website, jackiem.com.au. If you're watching this anywhere else, don't forget to follow me on Twitch. The easiest URL to remember is just jackiem.live. If you are watching it on Twitch, don't forget Jackie M Food is my Twitch channel. So I gotta run to pick up Noah from childcare before he gets locked out. Hopefully the traffic is okay. But yeah, guys, don't forget tomorrow night, campfire. I'm going to be drawing for one each of the Rode microphones. Let me show you quickly. Okay, so tell everyone, the only way to win is the only thing you have to do is to be there, okay? When I call out your name, you have to be there and respond within 60 seconds, but we use a random drawer, okay? So these are the Lenovo mini speakers, okay? And giveaway. And this is the Rode microphone. I've got one of each to give away this Saturday. I've got a bunch of them to give away over the course of the next few weeks, all right? So stick around and make sure you try and win one. It's so easy to win that 3 people so far have actually won one of each of this, okay? Even though they're drawn separately. So yeah, whatever it might say about my my channel. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. That's the beef noodles and that's the sambal I made. The sambal is actually for the other noodle dish. The chicken crackling, okay. Looks dodgy, I know. Fried shallots and the beef noodle soup. There you go. Thanks, guys, and I will see you tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Sydney time, which is GMT plus 10 every Saturday, okay? Thanks again. I'll see you later. Ciao.